In this episode of Dark History, we're looking at the dark history of video game.
Without making you guys wait anymore, here's the video. Grab a snack and don't forget to subscribe.
The Angry Bird spying controversy. In 2009, hit video game Angry Bird was released, and within, I believe, 2010, it became vastly popular. Me myself, I've also played it, and I believe that I am the best. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kind of trash at the game. But the controversy doesn't arise from the game itself. It arises from its collection of data, or possible allegations of collection of data. In documents revealed by Edward Snowden, an NSA whistleblower, it revealed that the NSA used the app to spy on the people who had downloaded the app. Apparently, Angry Birds had generated data on the phone settings, where the phone was connected to, the web history, the documents they had downloaded, and who the friends were, just from using the app. And apparently, well, some documents also claim that using the app, the NSA could determine the user's political affiliation and even sexual orientation. Highway of Death. This is a very controversial scene from Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
If they try to escape to the mountains, there is only one road, Tariq al-Maut, the Highway of Death. The Russians bombed it during the invasion, killing the people trying to escape.
But in reality, the Highway of Death is a real historical event, but it was not done by the Russians, but rather by the Americans.
What is the real event, the real historical event of the Highway of Death? In 1990, Iraq invaded Kuwait. And they said that they invaded it because they wanted to acquire their large oil reserve, canceling Iraqi debt to Kuwait, and expanding Iraqi power. But yeah, at least they're very honest about many countries these days, they kind of want that, but they're not very honest for it, and give some random reason.
But the mission was to expulse Iraqi forces from Kuwait, but the Americans went a little bit overboard. The Americans had made the Iraqi forces retreat, and while they were retreating, the Americans continued and started the Highway of Death. They blocked the entry and exit of the Iraqi forces, and they proceeded to massacre all the surrendering Iraqi troops.
Tariq al-Maut, the Highway of Death. The Russians bombed it during the invasion. The Russians bombed it. The Russians bombed it. The Russians bombed it.
Columbine, Doom. In 1993, the Doom game was released. If you don't know the game, it's about the guy called Doom Guy, and he's just killing demons. Well, it's very oversimplified. And what is disturbing about this game was the obsession of the Columbine shooter with the video game Doom. In a recording in 1999, the Columbine shooter made this statement about Doom. He says that the shooting is going to be like Doom. We need to get a chain reaction. That shotgun, he kisses his gun, is straight out of Doom. Now this of course gave huge negative press, and especially since these people were huge fans of the Nazis, and they committed the crime on April 20, which was the birthday of Hitler, and proceeded to do the mass shooting.
A controversy emerged. Do video games cause real-life violence? And meta-analysis has determined that it has very mixed results. In fact, 98.7% of adolescents play video games to some extent. So maybe one of them could cause a violent crime, but this is no correlation. So, do you think video games cause real-life violence?
Steam Day. Now, this obviously isn't a game that you would allow on Steam, but it was a huge controversy on whether we should allow it or no, which is kind of a weird, it wasn't even that late either, it was pretty recent. So what is this game called Rape Day? Well, by its title you kind of know what it's about. It was a visual novel where you can verbally harass, kill, and rape women. And apparently, in the Q&A, said that murder has been normalized in video games, yet raping women is not normalized. But the first question we should ask is, how did this game even get approved in the Steam shop? Well, there's also a history behind that. In 2012, Steam had a feature called Steam Greenlight, which is basically users would decide which games should be allowed and not allowed on the platform. And if there was many positive, oh yeah, we should allow this game, then it would be allowed to release on the platform. However, in 2018, it kind of changed its policy. It's changed to a policy called Steam Direct, where anyone could upload the game with the very small fee of $100. After you paid $100, you can publish the game to Steam. Now, this allowed all kinds of games, and 1 year later, after all these relaxing of policies, was the release of the very controversial game, the Juarez Cartel. This game, called Call of Juarez, had been accused of being a narco corrido, which is, well, narco corrido are traditionally songs that promote cartels and make it seem like a good thing. And this game has portrayed the cartels as a good thing, and especially indirectly, I guess, give good press to the Juarez Cartel. But what is the Juarez Cartel? Well, the Juarez Cartel was founded in the 1970s, but it became extremely violent with someone who came into power. His name was Armando Camillo Fuentes, and he tripled the yearly deaths in Mexico, from 100 to 300 a year. And the cartel has committed many atrocities throughout its history. For example, it executed 18 drug addicts who were recovering by death squad, as well 15 teenagers gunned down because they saw that they were part of the enemy cartel, executed journalists, killed 3 US consulate members, thousands duct taped and beheaded by the cartel, 304 women who were killed, and dozens of mass killings in bars and restaurants. And this cartel is also a disturbing reality for the people living in Ciudad Juárez, because they experience about 8 murders a day. And with this game called Call of Juarez, will kind of make it seem like this cartel is a good thing. It portrays in the positive lights the victims who were killed were bonuses, trophies, and something to brag about. And it definitely does not resonate well with the victims. Nintendo's love hotels. This is when Nintendo founded a hotel and indirectly dealt and helped the Yakuza prostitution ring. Now, how did it even get to this point? Well, to understand it, we have to understand a little bit on the founding of Nintendo. In 1899, Fusajiro Yamuchi founded Nintendo. At that time, the Japanese mafia, the Yakuza, were using Hanafuda cards to do gambling. Now, many companies have decided to stop manufacturing these cards to not be associated with the Japanese mafia. But for Yamuchi, this was a business opportunity, and he started being the manufacturer of the Hanafuda cards that were mostly bought by the Yakuza. And this was only the first dealing with the Yakuza. From 1963 to 1968, Nintendo started doing deals and making multiple businesses, of which many failed. One of these failed businesses is the love hotels. The love hotels were a hotel where you could rent a room for 1 hour. Now, this was ideal for prostitution because they could go in for 1 hour, do the deed. Most people don't last that long. I'm sure many people last very, very long. I don't want to criticize your love abilities. That's not even on topic. Anyways, the love hotels mostly operated within Japan's red light districts and were haven for prostitution, especially since the Yakuza mainly ran the prostitution rings. And, well, Fusajiro Yamuchi ran a blind eye to these prostitution deals within his own hotels. In fact, Yamuchi used these hotels for his multiple mistresses, even though he was married, which is kind of the concept of mistresses. But apparently his wife knew about his mistresses, but she also turned a blind eye. Just like how Yamuchi turned a blind eye to the dealings of the Japanese mafia with prostitution within his hotels. Now, this all stopped when the Yakuza started using his hotels as a gambling ring, and of which he decided to close down these hotels.
Thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you to everyone who has bought my book called Unknown History, or at least a little draft of it. And as well, thank you to all my Ko-fi followers: Agrabin, Java City Coffee, Dilly, Riley, Elk, Lolo XL2, Kyle, okay, we have two Kyles, Kyle Nichols, and of course Cal EXE, Tyler Luch, Alicia, RG Weeks, Oliver, Luke, and Al Mlhai. Thanks so much for your support, and I'll see you guys in the next video.